The Rescue, the third serial of Doctor Who's second season, written by David Whittaker, first released in 2 parts on the 2nd and the 9th of January 1965. Only 2 episodes long, this one is a relatively short story, but it does well in setting up the new companion, Vicki Pallister. Now, the first Doctor, played by William Hartnell, and his companions, Ian Chesterton and Barbara Wright, played by William Russell and Jacqueline Hill, arrive on the planet Dido. Now, Dido is a planet the Doctor has supposedly visited before, and he believes that all of the people of Dido are relatively peaceful beings who live on the planet. However, they end up coming across... Well, they first end up finding themselves stuck in a cave, so they have to find a way out of the cave. However, Barbara ends up falling over part of the cliff inside the cave, but is eventually found by a young woman named Vicki Pallister, played by Maureen O'Brien. And is brought to a crashed spaceship. Now, there are only 2 remaining survivors aboard the ship, one being Vicki, the other being a man named Bennett, played by Ray Barrett. And they've kind of been waiting for a ship to come and rescue them. Now, the ship is supposedly a few days, about 69 hours away from getting to them. However, Vicki, upon picking up the detection of the TARDIS landing, believes that they've arrived early and so they can get off the planet. However, Bennett is seemingly not so keen to leave. And they're visited by a creature known as Coquillion. And Coquillion seems intent on keeping them there, especially keeping Vicki on the planet. So it's up to the Doctor, Ian and Barbara to try and find out what's going on and possibly get them to safety, while also surviving some of the traps. I mean, the Doctor and Ian, in trying to escape the cave, discover a section that seemingly has spikes that will push them over the cliff to a creature that lives in the depths of the cave that will seemingly eat them. However, having been on the planet for a long time, it's not quite as simple as they might think. I mean, when Barbara ends up seeing a creature seemingly stalking Vicki when she goes out to get water, she ends up taking Vicki's flare and shooting the creature, which actually gets Vicki upset because she knows that the creature... She's been on the planet for a while. She knows that the creature wouldn't have harmed her. However, Barbara didn't know that. She thought the creature was going to attack Vicki. And now Vicki is angry at her and she doesn't entirely understand why. But it does do a good job of setting up. Also, supposedly Vicki in this story is supposed to be something like 14, even though Maureen O'Brien, who played her at the time, was 22. But to quote Jane Lynch's opening song from the Emmys, it's a world where high school students look roughly 24, which, I don't know, I mean, but then again, Maureen O'Brien does do a good job of showing that kind of childlike gleam. I mean, she was evidently brought in to replace Susan, who had just left in the previous story, the Dalek invasion of Earth. And you can definitely tell that she has the kind of childlike gleam and innocence to her, someone who is kind of looking at the world and trying to see the good in everything, even if she knows that sometimes it's not entirely there. But then, when the ultimate kind of plot is revealed in part 2, I have to go into spoilers here, so if you don't want it spoiled, go off and watch the story and then come back. When the actual plot is actually revealed, it's actually quite sinister and also quite tragic. Because it turns out that on their previous ship, where they had been members of the crew, Bennett killed someone. He had shot a crewmate or killed a crewmate, and he had been arrested. Now, they had been on their way to Earth when they had crash-landed on Dido, and in order to cover things up, Bennett had arranged a kind of meeting between the Didonians and the humans, and then had killed pretty much everyone there. He had wanted, because he knew that the message of his treachery hadn't yet got through to Earth, he wanted to kill everyone there in order to cover it up. However, he needed to keep one person alive, and in order to kind of maintain his story and actually make it more believable, and that's why Vicki is there. As long as she doesn't know that he killed the previous people, then he will be in the clear. And in order to kind of keep her in one place, to keep her from getting too curious, he occasionally dressed up as Coquillion in order to kind of keep her scared and keep her in the same place. And it's effectively gaslighting her for who knows how long, a year? Maybe more? But yeah. But then, when the ultimate end of the story comes, and he is defeated, not by the Doctor, but actually by some surviving Didonians who know what he's done, he's killed, I do actually like the way that Vicki ends up joining the TARDIS. I mean, we see the Doctor gets knocked out partially during the final fight, and then gets brought to by the Didonians back to the TARDIS, where he, after sleeping for a little while, he ends up reuniting with Ian and Barbara. Now, also earlier on in the story, they do show briefly that he goes, Ian, Barbara, good go. Susan? Oh yes, of course. He doesn't do that for the entire story, which I'm actually quite thankful for. I mean, I think if they'd repeated over and over and over again that he can misses Susan, or he forgets that she's not there and is wondering where she was, I think it probably would have grown tiring after a while. But no, he only does it once, and then the rest of the story is just getting the hell on with it. But as I said, I do like how eventually Vicki comes on board. I mean, they get back to the TARDIS, everything's fine. The Doctor goes out for a little while to talk to Vicki, and Ian and Barbara think, well, everyone got killed on that ship, and Vicki said to us that her father got killed, her mother died long ago, and she's got nowhere to go. I mean, should we ask her to come with us? I mean, if you'd like that. I mean, we should at least ask the Doctor about it. Meanwhile, outside, the Doctor asks Vicki if she'd like to come along with them. She said she has no family back home, and maybe she enjoyed it aboard the TARDIS. But he gives her a minute just to think about it. And then when he comes back inside the TARDIS, Ian and Barbara both kind of try to say to him, look, listen, we know that we were wondering if we could ask if maybe Vicki could come along with us, and we know that you're not really keen. It's like, yes. I think we've all had the exact same idea. Before he eventually calls her aboard, and Barbara asks her, look, Vicki, would you like to come along with us? Like, I would certainly like to, yes. I mean, if you'll have me. To which the Doctor just chuckles and then closes the doors. I mean, sometimes that's all you need. It's dead simple. Just having a person think about it, them asking, everyone having the same idea, wanting her to come along. And you know what? I just love it. I mean, this isn't the first time I'd seen Vicki Pallister or Maureen O'Brien in Doctor Who. I mean, I've done the Space Museum, The Chase, The Time Meddler, and Galaxy 4 already, but this was her first story, and I actually think it's really cute. It's a very short story. It's just there to really introduce Vicki Pallister, but you know what? For an introduction story, I think it's a really good one. What are your thoughts on The Rescue? Let me know down in the comments. Until next time, see ya.